Welcome to the Fast Seven, Ed. I'm really excited to have you. Welcome.
Kaylee, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think everyone knows who you are, but please do an intro, Ed Roberts, well, you do it. You do the intro.
I'm Ed Roberts, the COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln down in sunny St. Augustine, Florida. Been in the car business for this month is my 31st year.
Wow, that's
Been around for a
amazing.
couple days. I'm dating myself already.
That's okay. Well, and really, I wanted you to come on the show because you have a book coming out. Is it live yet, or is it just pre-order still?
It's still pre-order for what's today's date for probably another 12 days. It was supposed to come out on the 20th. Looks like it's going to be the 24th right now. So
Okay, so
by the end
about
of the
two
month.
more weeks. And okay, very exciting. And I don't know if you know the format of the show, but it's just really just kind of drilling questions. And it's supposed to be pretty fast, but it we can go into detail too because I have a feeling I'm going to think of questions as you answer my questions.
Okay.
So, let's just jump right in. Why did you write your book? And let's start with the name of your book too so everyone can have that in their mind.
It is mile one, and the tagline for it is an endless journey to effective leadership. And where that came about is for about the last 20 years, people have told me you need to write a book. And I've never looked at myself as being a writer, never thought I would do it. But finally, over the last 10 years, I've been making notes that I said, if I ever do, here's what I want to make sure I put in it. And then late last year, I decided it's time. It's time to put one together. And I went to work on it. And it has been a journey. It's been a fun journey. It's had some challenges. There's been plenty of times where I just wanted to say, I don't know why I decided to do this, but I kept pushing through it, and it's been a cool journey for sure.
What was your favorite part of the journey of writing a book? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of think or want to write a book, but then, just the daunting task of actually doing it or thinking that I'm not a writer. How can I even write a book? So what was your favorite part and what was your least favorite part about writing the book?
So my favorite part was probably learning all the things that I learned about writing a book. That you learn things that you never thought you would learn. I would think I would never learn. Like we speak with a lot of inflection. And in a book, there's no opportunity for inflection. You have to use words that drive that inflection. So you have to find inflection type words. And then there is no, when you stand in front of an audience, there's Q&A at the end of it. Well, when you write a book, there's no opportunity for anybody to ask questions. So you have to the clarity has to be there. That was somewhat easy to get. And then when I presented to a few publishers, they gave me some ideas on different things. And one of the things that they told me is that you not only have to write the book in order for you to understand it, but you have to write the book for an audience that doesn't understand you or doesn't know you or doesn't know the connections to understand it as well. Meaning, I'll talk because of a relationship with somebody and talk about who they are, and then the audience may pick them up as being somebody totally different. And so there's some things that you have to write and add words that really spell out who they are. And I never thought of that until you look at it. But if if I write about an employee here, I need to paint the picture of who they are as a person, whereas I wouldn't do that necessarily talking to a crowd.
That makes sense. And so what would you say your least favorite part about writing the book was?
The least favorite part was going back and changing those things after I put the book together. And
Um,
once you get tuned in on it, you go in and you say, okay, that doesn't make sense, and you have to go back and talk about it differently. So going and trying to find all those elements, and then taking the feedback from the different drafts and the different things that you do, going back and redoing it was the thing that I was ready to be done with. I was looking for the finish line.
I can imagine because you have to really be detailed in like just what you were saying, where the people reading may not actually know who you are or know the people that you know. So you have to really like paint that picture, and that can be exhausting.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
Because you're quick to talk about somebody, but then it doesn't all come together until you paint the picture of who they are when you extrapolate knowing them.
That makes sense. And so how has the process been on, because I believe when I read just kind of the outline of the book, or summary, I guess is what it would be called. It's about pausing, reflecting, and growing. So how was that experience while writing the book? I'm sure you grew a lot during that experience. So how has it enhanced your leadership and your life through writing this book?
One of the things that I learned writing, and there's a book out there about storytelling, and I didn't really grasp the elements of that until I started writing. And you can put the core of what you want to put in the chapter, but unless you tie it to a story, most people don't relate.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a bit challenging to be able to tie those stories to it. But with doing that and learning how to tie more of those stories in, as you talk to people in person, you find additional ways to relate and for them to relate and to grasp and to create a visualization of something. So it's educational along the way.
Yeah, I would imagine. And what do you say, like, so now that the book is done, what are people going to get from it? Like, what was your goal and your intention of, like, when people pick up this book, I want them to take away this, and this. I don't know. Each person, I think, is probably going to get something different. But what did you want people to get from it?
Well, there's a little bit of uniqueness to the book because I put questions at the end of each chapter, and it's kind of to cause you to reflect back to how can you do this in the business that you're in. And if there's one chapter that somebody can relate to and pull something out of and make them a better person, then it's success, no matter which chapter that is. And if there's 4 chapters, then that's huge success. Um, there's things that people probably say, well, that probably wouldn't work here, and maybe it will, maybe it wouldn't. But if there's one thing they get out of it, then it's well worth the read for sure.
Absolutely. And I think with books, when you read them at different phases of your life, you get different things from them. And I see that being this book where you read it once, you probably get 1 or 2 things, you grow, and then you're going to read it again and get different things. So I feel like that's kind of what's going to happen with your book for many people.
I would hope so. There are certainly some books, just like you said, that I've read 25 years ago, and I go back and read them every 3 or 4 years, and every single time you pick up something totally different because you're at a different place in life. You relate to things differently. Things change, and hopefully this will do the same.
Yeah. So I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Okay. I have a question going back to you, like as a kid or in school. Were you a big reader or writer? Like, were you good at English?
I was not. I was looking to get out of school. I was looking to be done. I was looking for that finish line. The
Yeah.
so no. The my favorite class was, from a subject standpoint, was mathematics, not necessarily English or anything that required a lot of reading.
Isn't that amazing though? Like, look at you now. That wasn't your favorite thing, but you wrote a book. And the only reason why I asked that is because I was the same way in school. English was not my favorite. I ran away when they wanted me to read books. So I tried my best to read.
Yeah, I didn't read for a long time. I just felt like I don't know what I'd get from it. But once you there's different levels in life where you hit different plateaus and you think, okay, let's see what we can grasp from something else. And
Yeah.
but now I've read nearly 230 books. So
That's amazing.
yes, life changes over time.
It does change. And then I think with reading for myself, because it's not something I'm naturally that good at, I always set goals or have a list of books that I want to read, or they're there by my bed. So I'm like, okay, I've got to pick it up and just read a couple pages. But yeah.
I saw that in your post earlier that your English teacher would be proud.
Yes, if he's still alive.
Right.
Because when I was in school, there was Cliff Notes. So that's what I used.
Exactly. And when someone's telling me about a book, that's what I'll tell them. Give me the Cliff Notes version. Shorten it up. Give me the gist of it.
Yeah. How long is your book? Speaking of that, that wasn't a question I was planning on asking, but
It should be about a 2-hour read, maybe 2 hour and 10 minute read.
no, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. And I wanted to keep it that way. I wanted to keep it simple. It's about 25,000 words total. That sounds like a big old mountain, but it's an easy read.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good start. What would you say your favorite part of the book? Like, is there anything actionable that you can remember, like that stands out that is like maybe your favorite chapter or just really something that sticks out to you?
Yes, there is, and this will be different than I think what you'd expect the answer to be. But there has been people in my life that knowingly and unknowingly have made a profound impact. And it was
Mm.
very cool to me to be able to do some dedications and some acknowledgments in those things and let them know what was important to me. And
That's
some of
really
them know and
cool.
some doesn't. So that was the most meaningful part of the book to me.
Wow, that's so cool. I didn't even think about that. And just, yeah, there's so many people in our lives that impact us. And I don't think we never get the chance to really tell them, maybe. So you
Exactly.
got that chance to really highlight them. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun for sure.
So do you think you're gonna be writing another book? Do you think there's like an additional one, or how does that work?
I told myself starting last year, because even 2 years ago, I wasn't going to write a book. But last year, I contemplated all year long. And then finally, when I talked to some publishers, and a couple of them says, "Hey, we'll do it." That's what I said. Okay, it's time to roll. But once I decided that I was going to write a book, I've kind of always stated that I'm going to write three if I write one. And so this one is about leadership, and it's about my journey in leadership and how it can impact your journey in leadership. The second one, I really want to be about my story from how I started out to where I am today, to kind of highlight to people that it doesn't matter where they are and what position they're in and what title they hold, they can make something happen for themselves. And then the third one is I really want to detail the path that we've taken with the store that I'm at today, with Bozard Ford Lincoln, with transforming this store from being a small town dealer to being one of the most recognizable dealers in the country.
I love it. That's gonna be really cool. And is there a time, is there a goal? Like when can we expect to see these coming?
I do believe that the second book will be the easiest book because every bit of that's from the heart, and it's a story that I lived. So I believe that will be the easiest,
Mhm.
maybe the most emotional. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that. And there's a good chance that I will pick up the pen and start writing that book before the year's out.
Oh, okay. Cool. So people will get hooked. We'll get the first one and then we'll know there's another one coming. I want to go back to like young Ed, like childhood Ed again, because I always like going there. Did you, as a kid, did you ever like, I'm trying to get to know you as a kid. Like, did you ever aspire to be like, did people ever say like, Ed, you're like the boss or you're like the leader? Did like your friends follow you? Like, trying to get to know you, little Ed.
So I grew up very humble, and the people that I grew up with didn't necessarily hold down jobs. So that there wasn't any of those type conversations. The In school, people would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was then a race car driver. Didn't know any better. And did I really have a true desire to be a race car driver? No, but it sounded cool at the time. Uh, and as I was getting close to the end of junior high, is when I really said, okay, well, I'm in where I'm at now, but I do believe there's a better life out there that I could be involved with, and started looking at different things. And that's when I really kind of started focusing on we can change where I'm at. And over the next couple of years, I found a path and chased after it with uh, with everything I had in me.
Oh, that's really awesome. And where do you think that drive came from to really just do and be more?
I am an extremely positive person, and when no matter what happens, I want to find the silver lining in it. And with that being said, if you're that kind of person, usually you don't like hearing no. So when someone says no on whatever it is, I don't hear no, I hear not yet. And
Hmm.
people told me early on when I told them that I want to go do something different to create a different life, that I wasn't capable of that. That's not the world that I live in, and and then creating the opportunity to get out of that was the subliminal fuel that still burns today. That says, hey, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Hmm. Yeah. And now that you've kind of like, well, you have accomplished that, you're there. I mean, there's still always more to grow from. Do you ever like struggle with like, what's the right words? Like, not that you don't deserve it, but do you ever feel like, selfish maybe like for wanting more, or I don't know. I'm kind of speaking to my own experience, like,
You're,
so
you're
I'm just asking you to relate.
You're good. I've never chased being more. I've just tried to be the best at what I could be and pick up all the elements around me that I felt like I could make an impact on. And
Yeah.
other things just fall in line with that. Um, so I am beyond pleased where I'm at, but I always tell myself every single day that good's not good enough.
Mm.
And if good's not good enough, if we're good today, we can be better tomorrow. And that's a lot of what the book is let's become a better person tomorrow than what we was today. And let's be better today than what we was yesterday. And if we do that every single day, not only does it happen to us personally, but it also happens to us professionally.
It does, yeah. And I think the people around us, right? Because you're in a leadership role, so you're impacting other people's lives. So, what would you say your favorite part about being a leader, and what are some of the things that I guess people can take away from listening to this? Of like, how can you be a better leader? How can you be like Ed as a leader?
The I tell people all the time that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you try to be something when you have the uniform on, and then try to be somebody else in your personal life, it doesn't really match up. And people want to emulate you. People want to be who you are and where you are. And so you have to be that person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And you always have to put yourself in position to be the person that you would want to be emulated if they're emulating you. And if you do those things, then you earn respect, you earn trust, and people are trying to emulate you and duplicate what we're producing.
That makes sense. I love that. It looks like we've had people pop in and out, so I was hoping that we might get some questions or comments. I know the video is always kind of a little delayed, so we'll wait a couple minutes to see if people want to ask Ed anything. Now's your chance.
All right. The
Yeah.
They probably want to know when is Ed going to be off of here is what it is.
Yeah, when are they done? Okay, so the book's coming out July 24th. And so is there anything else that you want to add about like the book, or where I'm assuming Amazon's probably a good place to get it. We'll include the links in the comments, but it's going to be available everywhere, right?
Right now, it's only available on my website, but about
Okay.
5 days before it's released, it will be available on Amazon as well.
Oh,
And
good.
so, and then probably by the end of August, it'll be available in Audible.
Okay.
All of it's a process, and you can hold it out until it's available in Audible. But I wanted to get it out. I was looking for that finish line, and because as I told one person the other day, there's drafts you create, and then there's a final manuscript you finish with. And I sent out different drafts to get different people to look at it and give me their opinions. But when I pushed what was the final manuscript and the final draft to the publisher, that was a humbling moment. That, wow, you've just wrote a book, and that didn't hit me throughout any of the phases, but hitting it there was it. So then the decision was, do we hold it out until then, or do we get it out in paper form and Audible to follow? So Audible will be about 45 days behind it.
And will it be you reading it?
I have not made that determination yet. I've talked to a few voices, so to speak. I have been encouraged by many for it to be my voice, but I do talk with an accent, so I haven't convinced myself that I want to do it yet.
I know that's probably really hard, but I think when I listen to books and I find out that it's the author, I feel way more like attached to that book and like feel it a lot more. So take that into consideration when you're and I think having the accent is who you are. That's how they're going to like, you know, they're going to hear your voice when they're thinking about like what they learned from it. And that's pretty powerful.
They're going to hear the southern drawl that goes along with it. But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a pretty good chance it's going to be me, but I haven't convinced myself 100% yet.
I hope so. And how cool would it be for your daughter to be able to listen back to, like, you know, many years, you know, after you're gone, to have that voice? That's pretty special, I think, because I would do anything to be able to hear my dad's voice, like reading a book. That would be crazy.
That is a cool part because part of writing a book is truly leaving a legacy behind, and when you
Hmm.
amplify that legacy, that adds to it for sure.
Yeah, that's very special. Well, I don't see any comments yet, but I'm really excited for your book. I think I pre-ordered it already. If I haven't, I'm doing it right after this. I have to double check, but I'm really excited for you, Ed. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Hey, I greatly appreciate you having me on. The support of this has been phenomenal, way more than I ever thought. The I plan on signing every pre-order that is placed and sending it just as a thank you note for saying, "Hey, I appreciate the support." And
Yay.
at the end of the day, if one person gets something out of it and makes them live a better life, then I feel like it was well worth it.
Oh
And
yeah.
if each person that reads the book gets an element out of it, then that's a huge success. So as long as it falls somewhere in between that, I am happy as a clam.
Oh yeah, and I think we're gonna get a lot out of it. So, I remember now I commented that I wanted a signed copy, so I better pre-order it so I get a signed copy.
There you go.
Cool. Well, we'll have all the links for everyone. And then yeah, thank you, Ed, for joining and talking about your book. We're all really excited.
Thank you, Kaylee. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.